speak about the last 5 days and our Honorable Prime Minister's trip and visit to Japan, Papua New Guinea and Australia, and give you some insight into that trip and how successful that trip was. As you are aware, over the last 5 days, the Honorable Prime Minister has attended 3 leading global summits, the G7, the Quad and the FIPIC. He had 40 engagements, met over 24 world leaders, and during his visits to these 3 countries, the front pages of most newspapers and media were covered with stories about his visit and the summits thereon. This trip was peppered with instances that exemplify the enormous respect and goodwill for India and India's Prime Minister amongst the world's leading nations and the world's leading leaders. And I am just quoting what the Foreign Secretary said in his press briefing, that these meetings were very outcome-driven and very productive. Just to give you some examples of the kind of respect that our Honorable Prime Minister commands from the world's leaders, I will just share some examples with you, and some of you may be aware, but certainly let me just give me the opportunity to lay it out for you. President Biden, the leader of the world's leading, most powerful nation in the world, complaining to him about the deluge of requests to attend the Prime Minister's dinner when he visits Washington and asking for his autograph. Imagine the significance of the Prime Minister of Papua New Guinea touching Prime Minister Modi ji's feet as a mark of respect when he welcomed him at the airport. Imagine the importance of Prime Minister Albanese of Australia referring to Prime Minister Modi ji as the boss and lighting up of the Sydney Opera House in tricolour. The goodwill shown and the respect shown by Prime Minister Chris Hipkins of New Zealand when he flies all the way to Australia to meet with Prime Minister Modi ji. These are not moments often seen in history. These are rare events which are the outcome of the hard work and the dedication and the commitment of our Honorable Prime Minister and his relentless effort to help all other nations that seek the help from our country. All countries may not agree with each other or with India on everything, but there is consensus certainly when it comes to the importance of India and the role of our Honorable Prime Minister as a global leader. I have more to share with you. You are also aware of the many honors that were given to our Honorable Prime Minister. Both the governments and people of Fiji and Papua New Guinea have conferred the highest civilian awards on our Honorable Prime Minister. The leaders of the island nations have referred to Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji as the leader of the global south. In particular, very few world citizens and world leaders have received the award that Papua New Guinea bestowed on our Prime Minister, and the previous global leader was President Bill Clinton of the USA. Renaming of the Harris Park in Sydney to Little India was another honor bestowed on India. The Australian Prime Minister accompanying our Prime Minister during this huge reception by the Indian diaspora, along with the leaders of opposition of the Australian Parliament, the Foreign Minister, the former Prime Minister, all affirmations of Prime Minister Modi ji's global leadership and increasing global stature. And if this was not enough. The push to Indian values, Indian culture, unveiling of the Mahatma Gandhi bust in Hiroshima, which was the site of the most heinous atomic bomb during the Second World War, to ensure that Gandhiji's message of non-violence is still relevant in today's geopolitics, launch of the Tamil classic Tirukkural in the Tokpisin language to connect Papua New Guinean youth to Indian values, bearing of recycled material at the G7 and the FIPIC summit as a mark of India's commitment to the value of sustainability and the Prime Minister's message of life at the G20. His gifts highlighted Indian culture, especially tribal culture, to the world leaders, as again a significant advocacy of Indian culture and Indian values. He met scientists, he met academicians, artists, cultural icons during his trip. And let me just give you two quotes. One quote is from the Nobel laureate in physics, Brian Paul Schmidt, who said, and I quote, "Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji is one of the most visible leaders that India has had in my lifetime. He takes an interest in whoever he talks to, whether it is the President of USA or someone he meets for the first time from society. India's ability to do world-class science has become an order of magnitude higher than ever before." Professor Toby Walsh, an artificial intelligence leader, said, and I quote, "India is absolutely the world's most extraordinary democracy. UPI is a wonderful example of India, how India can do things itself." This achievement, this transformation of the India story, the India narrative has become possible due to 9 years of hard work, relentless hard work by Honorable Prime Minister and his government. As a world leader who was born poor, Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji is an inspiration and leader for those nations and peoples of the world that continue to struggle. India's performance during COVID and the role that India is playing in shaping a peaceful future for the world's people continue to be a beacon for the people of the global south. Having said this, and having heard how he spoke at the Global Diaspora Meet in Australia, where he spoke about India, he spoke about India's future, India's rise from the fifth economy to the top 3 of the world, which is inevitable and which will be rapid. I want to draw your attention to the shameless habit of our opposition politicians, like Rahul Gandhi and his cohorts, to use abuse and lies not just to insult our Prime Minister and our government, but also our nation, our democracy, and our institutions, including the press and judiciary. In the backdrop of the world celebrating India, the world's people recognizing the leadership of our Prime Minister, I want to draw the attention of the same people in the opposition who abused the handling of our economy during the pandemic, who created fear about Indian vaccines, pushed for foreign vaccines, opposed helping other countries with our vaccines, created all-round panic during COVID, including amongst our vulnerable Shramiks, have blamed our EVMs, blamed our judiciary, blamed our press as the reason for their repeated loss in democratic elections. They have traveled abroad to vilify our democracy, nation, and our people. And there is a studied silence on all those allegations after the Karnataka elections. In a global world where nations are vying for recognition and respect, it is important to project an accurate image and positive image of India's progress. India's global standing is built on the foundation of its diverse culture, vibrant democracy, and rapid economic growth. And it is undeniable, और इसमें कोई दो राय नहीं है कि प्रधानमंत्री मोदी जी के नेतृत्व, उनके डिप्लोमेटिक एफर्ट ने बहुत बड़ा रोल प्ले किया है हमारे देश के प्रगति, हमारे देश के इकोनॉमिक एक्सपेंशन, इन्वेस्टमेंट्स और इन्वेस्टमेंट्स के द्वारा जॉब क्रिएशन, उनका प्रोएक्टिव अप्रोच और उनका भारत के नेतृत्व के कारण उनको दुनिया भर में बहुत मान सम्मान और रेस्पेक्ट मिल रहा है। मैं ये मानता हूं कि अगर हमारे भारत के ऑपोजिशन राजनीति भी हमारे देश के इंसल्टिंग और बेरेटिंग को रोककर हमारे देश के प्रगति में थोड़े भाग लेने का चेष्टा करें, if they can become a part of this effort to take India forward and more forward and celebrate India's progress and not take every opportunity to insult our growth and development or create hurdles or attempts to reverse our Prime Minister's mission and his goal, unka goal of creating a developed Bharat, a developed India with सबका साथ, सबका विकास, सबका विश्वास and सबका प्रयास। धन्यवाद। मैं जरा हिंदी में दो तीन जैसे, क्योंकि यहाँ पे मुझे कहा गया कि मैं हिंदी में बोलूं। देखिए, प्रधानमंत्री मोदी जी आज रात को 5 दिन के जापान, ऑस्ट्रेलिया और आइलैंड नेशंस पपुआ न्यू गिनी के ट्रिप के बाद आएंगे। उन्होंने इस 5 दिनों में 3 महत्वपूर्ण ग्लोबल इंटरनेशनल समिट में इन्होंने भाग लिया, G7, क्वाड और फिपिक। और इन 5 दिनों में जापान, ऑस्ट्रेलिया और पपुआ न्यू गिनी के फ्रंट पेजेस में इनवेरिएबली उनके मीटिंग्स और उनके बारे में कवरेज छाया हुआ था। ये अगर ट्रिप को आप देखेंगे, काफी सारे इंस्टेंसेस इस ट्रिप में हमको देखने को मिला जहां पर जो भारत की ओर और भारत के प्रधानमंत्री की ओर एक तरह से एनॉर्मस रेस्पेक्ट और गुडविल जो दुनिया के देशों में और दुनिया के लीडर्स में है, हमें देखने को मिला। दुनिया के सबसे पावरफुल नेशन अमेरिका के प्रेसिडेंट प्रधानमंत्री मोदी जी के ऑटोग्राफ मांगते हैं। पपुआ न्यू गिनी के प्रधानमंत्री उनको वेलकम करने में एयरपोर्ट में पैर छूते हैं रेस्पेक्ट के एक जेस्चर से। ऑस्ट्रेलिया के प्रधानमंत्री अल्बनीज प्रधानमंत्री मोदी जी को बॉस कहते हैं और सिडनी ओपेरा हाउस को ट्राई कलर में लाइट अप करते हैं। न्यूजीलैंड के प्राइम मिनिस्टर क्रिस हिपकिंस ऑस्ट्रेलिया आते हैं प्रधानमंत्री मोदी जी से मिलने। ये कोई हिस्ट्री में कोई यूजुअल इवेंट्स नहीं है। ये बहुत अनयूजुअल मोमेंट्स हैं, हिस्ट्री के बड़े रेयर इवेंट्स हैं। और ये इसीलिए हुआ है क्योंकि प्रधानमंत्री मोदी जी ने पिछले 9 साल बहुत काम किया है। हमारे देश की जो छवि है, उन भारत का जो इमेज है और भारत का जो रोल है, बहुत आगे बढ़ाया है। सभी नेशन, सभी कंट्रीज ऐसा नहीं है कि सभी चीज में हम एग्री करेंगे या करते हैं, लेकिन एक कंसेंसस जरूर है इंपॉर्टेंस ऑफ भारत और प्रधानमंत्री मोदी जी के इंपॉर्टेंस के। बाकी सब आप सुन चुके हैं। आई विल नॉट रिपीट द होल थिंग एंड आई एम हैप्पी टू टेक एनी क्वेश्चंस। थैंक यू।
आप लोगों को कोई सवाल हो तो पूछ सकते हैं।
देखिए, मैं ये कहना चाहता हूं कि प्रधानमंत्री मोदी जी 9 साल से जो उन्होंने काम किया है, जो उनके प्रयास रहे हैं, उसका नतीजा हम सब को हमको देखने को मिल रहा है, जैसे दिख रहा है आज, वो इकोनॉमी में हो या इन्वेस्टमेंट में हो या इनोवेशन इकोसिस्टम में हो या अमेरिका के साथ स्ट्रेटेजिक टेक्नोलॉजीज के एग्रीमेंट हो या इंडो ईयू के एग्रीमेंट हो या जैसे आपने अभी देखा ऑस्ट्रेलिया, जापान और पपुआ न्यू गिनी में हो। ऑपोजिशन के लीडर्स का एक तरह से सिंगल पॉइंट एजेंडा हो गया है, या तो प्रधानमंत्री मोदी जी को गाली गलौज करना, या बाहर जाके, क्योंकि उनको अटेंशन सीकिंग का एक कोई स्ट्रैटेजी मिलना उनके लिए जरूरी लग रहा है, बाहर जाकर वो कैम्ब्रिज हो या कहीं पर हो या कोई रास्ते में हो, भारत के बारे में, भारत के मीडिया के बारे में, भारत के जुडिशरी के बारे में, भारत के ईवीएम्स के बारे में, भारत के डेमोक्रेसी के बारे में एक तरह से नेगेटिव नैरेटिव खड़ा करना। बाहर के दुनिया के लीडर्स और लोग भारत को देखकर कहते हैं कि ये दुनिया के सबसे उभरते हुए डेमोक्रेसी है, एक्स्ट्रॉर्डिनरी डेमोक्रेसी ऑफ द वर्ल्ड। दिस इज द फ्रेज यूज्ड बाय अ प्रोफेसर इन ऑस्ट्रेलिया। और ये लोग जाके हमारे वही भारत के बारे में, मालूम नहीं क्यों इनका मानसिकता के बारे में आई कैन नॉट एक्सप्लेन, दे विल रन डाउन इंडिया, दे विल रन डाउन इंडियन इंस्टीट्यूशंस, they will run down Indian judiciary, they will run down Indian elections and will say India's democracy is in danger. कर्नाटका के इलेक्शन के बाद मैंने एक स्पष्ट रूप से किसी जर्नलिस्ट मित्र ने पूछा मुझसे, मैंने कहा कि एटलीस्ट नाउ वो ये तो बंद करेंगे कि डेमोक्रेसी इज इन डेंजर। जब वो जीतते हैं डेमोक्रेसी इज नॉट इन डेंजर, जब वो हारते हैं वो हारते रहेंगे, डेमोक्रेसी विल बी इन डेंजर। ये उनका एक तरह से मानसिकता है, उनका एक तरह से क्या करें स्ट्रैटेजी है, जो भी है।
Do you think that the global citizens of Indian origin or people who are from India who are globally placed, they see this as a move for BJP to gain power in India when the election is due in 24?
Look, I think everybody knows today that if it is a choice in 2024 that has to be made by the people of India between Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji's efforts and work and progress that India has made in the last 10 years, as it will be on 2024, it will be 10 years. It is a no contest. I don't think anybody believes that there was going to be anything less than a decisive, solid mandate yet again in 2024 for the BJP. So I don't think it is only the global diaspora. I think it is every citizen of India.
रविंद्र जी, आपके पास तो कोई सवाल नहीं है ना, इसका मतलब समाप्त है। आपके पास कोई सवाल नहीं तो इसका समाप्त समझिए हम ना सारे सवाल। चलिए, बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद।
അവിടെ മലയാളം ഒന്നുമില്ല. ഓക്കെ, ചലിയേ.